I had a pre-death experience. At least that's what I'm going to call it. I've never heard anyone else mention this, though I'm sure many of you have had this exact same experience. 2012 in Seattle, Harborview, I underwent 3 major surgeries. Before the last one, they all told me the chances of you waking up after anesthesia make this surgery critical. It's not the operation you're about to undergo. It's the fact that we've put you under anesthesia the past 7 days, 3 times. And the chances of us not being able to wake you up are very real. Real enough that I have to sign disclosure forms and waivers and liability. And of course, there's lawyers in the room. Even in my morphine-addled state, they made me understand how serious this was. Not the operation, the coming out of anesthesia. And later, I learned that they had told my mother it was 50-50. After 3 major surgeries in that short period of time, apparently anesthesia is finding out what will kill you and then backing it off a little bit. And when they continually do it over and over, they have to keep putting you down further. And as they put you down further, the risk of being able to bring you back up increases greatly. So the morning of the surgery, they wheel me in, put you in that little room. You're laying on the steel cold table, naked, little gown over you. I got to talk to my mother for about 10 minutes before the anesthesiologist came in, so I got to talk to her, and then she was ushered out when he came in. And I can remember the anesthesiologist saying, "Okay, we prepped for surgery. We've got about 15 minutes before they're going to be ready for you, and I'll be back to administer anesthesia." Great. We've got 15 minutes to lay here on this table and face the inevitable in a way that you can't imagine until you're actually facing it. See, everybody knows someday I'm going to die. Someday this is the inevitable. We all know that. Most of us don't like to think about it. Most of us prefer distractions of any other kind rather than solely face that square fact and undergo the experience it forces you to go through by facing it. So I had 15 minutes, and I'm laying there, and I'm thinking of the accomplishments that I had made in my life, the things I was grateful and glad to have accomplished, my dream of creating a publishing company and all that stuff. At least I had accomplished that, and I was leaving something behind that I thought, hey, at least it's got my name on it. At least it's something to say, hey, I was here. Hey, I did this. I accomplished that. And it was a dream of mine. For the last 10, 12 years, it had been nothing but my sole focus in life, my sole reason to exist. 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't do birthdays and holidays. I've got a goal in mind, and I'm working toward that. And that's what had been important to me the past decade of my life. And laying there on that table, it didn't mean anything. Laying there on that table, none of my accomplishments seemed to matter. And consequently, the next thing that happens is the regrets. Sure, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have cared more about that or spent more time doing this. You go through the whole life review of your regrets and your accomplishments, and you have to measure them all out and see what you've actually done and face it in a real way that you've never had to do before. I don't think we can do as an intellectual exercise. I don't think you can imagine your way into this experience. I don't think we experience it until we're in the face of it. When you've only got 15 minutes left of this world, That's all you know for sure. You know there are options. Maybe I'll wake up. Maybe I'll wake up in a better place. Maybe there is nothing to wake up to. But whatever it is, whatever was coming, whatever that inevitable someday that you know is coming for you too, whatever that was, it was coming for me in the next 15 minutes, and I'm helpless to do anything about it. I say, you can go kicking and screaming if you like, ain't gonna help. And I couldn't even go kicking and screaming. I was broken beyond what felt like repair. And in that moment of those last 5 minutes of laying on that table, the experience is that you're forced to let it all go. And laying there, like I said, the accomplishments, the regrets, whatever you felt about your life after that review, that's great, that's fine, but now you're forced to let all of that go because you know that you are going into the unknown and you are not taking any of that with you. Nothing. Laying on that table, there was none of my possessions that I'd ever acquired in life mattered. None of my great dreams and desires of changing the world or creating this, or none of that mattered. Not at all. The only thing that did matter was the experiences that I had had with other people, the interactions I had had with people. Those connections, not only did they feel real, but it feels like that's all we take into that next world, whatever it is. It's only the experiences here that we're collecting. All of the materials, the stuff, none of the stuff we're taking with us. And we all know that. Again, someday you're going to have to let go of all that, and you know that. But until you're faced with that moment where you have to let it go, it does something to you. And that's that pre-death experience that even I struggle to describe. I've thought about this for a while. I've wanted to make this video for a while. And it is difficult to exactly describe the experience. It's not like a near-death experience where you know the near-death experiences. You've heard of what happens supposedly in those instances. This wasn't that. This wasn't that at all. Of course, I woke up from the surgery. Thank you, Harborview. Thank you to the surgeons there. Thank you to everyone who was amazingly competent and it did better work on me than I even thought was possible. So thank you. Every day that I wake up and I have my legs still and that I can walk, and that I can ride a bike, I think about you guys, so I appreciate you. You matter. And of course, I woke up. And here comes the rub. After you have this experience where you realize everything we strive to build in our lives is futile, it's like a lifelong tic-tac-toe game where there are no winners, but you're forced to play. After waking up from that and coming through the other end of it, it took me years to get back to being physically capable, being able to walk, being able to just feel normal, being able to use my hands, being able to feel normal. It took the same amount of time for my brain to come back online. It took that many years for me to be able to do math again or to think clearly. And thank you, cycling, for helping that. That's what solved that problem for me. But even after coming through all that, years after that, what never changed is the experience that I had laying on that table. It's something that has happened to me where now I know what is truly valuable in life. I'm almost incapable of pursuing what doesn't matter. And unfortunately, most of our lives around us, these things that we have, these things that we own, is not what matters. Even the experiences that we're creating for ourselves here, the only thing that truly does matter, we're sacrificing for things that don't. And you don't have to take my word for it, because one day, someday, you'll be on that table too. We all will. I know that I'll be back on that table sooner than I imagine. It could be tomorrow, could be 20 years, doesn't matter. It's a blink. It doesn't matter how long it is from now till then, because I know what then is. I know that moment is coming again someday in my life, where I'm laying there knowing that I'm about to go into that great unknown the way we all do, and go where we all go. And in that moment, the only thing that's going to matter, the only thing that did matter to me, was the experiences and interactions I had had in this world. That's the only thing that's valuable. That's the only thing I seek now, even to my own detriment, to where I am extremely close to letting go of the last of the material possessions that I have, loading up a bike and riding that way. Of course, I'll take you along with me, if it comes to that. But it's very difficult to care about things that you know don't matter. And not on some hypothetical, not on some intellectual level. Well, of course I know one day I'm going to die. And this is how I'm going to feel about it when I'm there. Wrong. Wrong. Until you're there on that table, you're not going to know how you feel. You're not going to know how you face it. But regardless of whether you're scared and kicking and screaming, you're still going. And the fact that you're still going is the process that creates this pre-death experience of letting go of everything in this world and realizing what truly matters. And that's what the experience did for me. Now, I know many of you have had surgeries. Of course, everyone's had time in the hospital. Anyone who's been through that and has came through the other side of it, how did you cope with knowing the inevitable and experiencing coming face to face with it and being forced to go through that process of letting all of this go and embracing the unknown, whether you want to or not? After coming back from that, how do you go back into the mundane and pretend that playing tic-tac-toe matters or that it's even fun? I'd love to hear from anyone who's had these experiences. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to interact with you and find out more about how you personally have overcome this, because I'm still struggling with it. I haven't overcome it. I struggle between both sides of my brain. One of them knowing the prudent thing to do is what you're supposed to do, all that stuff we were taught, get the stuff, collect more things, get security, all that. The other thing is, dummy, experiences all you're collecting here. Are these the experiences you want to collect? No. Well, then why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And I don't have a good answer. I guess I want to know, do you? Thanks for watching. Thanks for paying any attention. Attention seems to be one of the only thing that matters here, and I appreciate yours. Like this video and share it if you know someone that's had these experiences. If you yourself have had these experiences, share it with more people so we can have a bigger conversation about how to deal with the reality that we're all facing. Thanks for watching.